And I was named Richard David Charles Fowler, and I must have been a beautiful baby. And I have no idea what happened after that. You may have heard that any presentation, any speech, is 10% presentation and 90% preparation. And I want us to be reminded, as I come to evaluate this evening, that tonight has not happened without an awful lot of work that has gone into it. And a lot of preparation and people sending emails here and there. And I want to commend everybody who has taken the time to actually prepare this evening well in advance so that we could enjoy it. It's great to be part of a family. Loneliness is actually an issue in today's modern world, isn't it? I heard of a story of a chap in LA that he actually gets paid to walk people around because they're actually feeling lonely. He gets paid $7 an hour, so if you're out of a job, there's a job. But we're a family and we should be thankful for what we have here tonight. The hard work started actually 12 days ago when Tony emailed me and said, do you want to be general evaluator? And I felt bad and I said, okay, I'll do it. So tip for being a Toastmaster or the Toastmaster of the evening. Email people personally and ask for them to do certain roles, and it actually will galvanise more support quicker rather than sending a general email saying, does anybody want to do such and such? Interestingly, do you know how many emails I've received which has a HOD or a Toastmasters heading in the last 2 weeks? Anyone want to take a guess? 12, 5? No, 18. I say that because there's something to be considered here. If you receive loads of emails connected to Toastmasters over and over again, you become numb to it. And you kind of start thinking, oh, well, that's probably not anything to do with me. So just be aware of how many emails we do send to each other. We've all got certain time limits. And so comes the evening, and Jill did something superb, and I would like to share what she did. Now, there's a quote before I share what Jill did. And the quote is, the shortest distance between two people is what? No?
Smile.
No? Close. Laughter. And so when Jill got up and gave a joke, what did that do? Brought everybody closer to her and made everybody feel comfortable. Interestingly, she waited just a few moments before Tony arrived. And I think that was a good shout because there was Tony Blair in office and he got a call from the army and he said, look, we've got a passenger jet. It's gone off the radar. We've got the tornadoes up. You give the signal. We'll shoot it down. Of course, this was soon after 9/11. And he said, okay. And he was faced with this incredible decision. He said, let's just wait a moment. And he did. And the plane came back on the radar. Problem averted. And Jill waited just that few minutes, and Tony walked in, which was great. I don't know whether I was more concerned about Tony being late, or the fact that he had a pink M&S bag. Any man with a pink M&S bag is not going to do a good job. However, he did do a good job. And what did he do, ladies and gentlemen? I want to draw your attention to it. He is the consummate professional at embedding humour into his introductions. There is no one better, in my opinion, in this club than him. And he gave 2 birthdays, Jonathan Ross and he gave King Louis. What adjective comes to mind when you hear the word Jonathan Ross? Shout it out.
Entertainer.
Entertainer, Pratt. Anything else? Lisp. Anything else? Saturday Night. We're going to stick with Pratt. Actually, he's quite crude. And this was a precursor for something that Tony did, which I want to because King Louis, when he was king and he was 8 years old, he was taken by those who were wanting to overturn the monarchy, and he was essentially fed all kinds of muck and rubbish. He was exposed to dirty food, rude and lewd jokes, and women. And he never took any of them. And do you know why? He said, I have been born to be a king. I want to cue this. When you're up here, try to avoid innuendos and jokes, which could be potentially a little bit crude, because it lowers your stature. Okay? It lowers the kudos that you have as a speaker. Jokes, keep them clean. I've seen so many people trash their personalities and their characters trashed. Of which Donald Trump is one of them. But well done, Tony. You are a consummate professional, and even in your introduction to the second half, you bridged it beautifully by referring to something that happened in the first half. Well done. No one does it quite like you. So let's move on to the evaluators. Well done to Bobby. You standing next to this stand is probably the best I've seen you. Something about this stand has a hold on you, and I think it makes you more professional. So well done. You refer to so much detail in the speech that you were evaluating, it showed you listened. Well done. Sandy, you are a man after my own neck. I love a man in a tie, so well done. Actually, that wasn't any innuendo, by the way. What you did, what I liked, was you gave a recommendation and clearly explained why you're giving that recommendation. Please, evaluators, take note. You're here to recommend and you're here to say why. Peter, you also a consummate professional in your evaluations. You were able to identify key important things about Denise's speech, and you did something which the other two didn't. You referred to the objectives. So my comment or my suggestion, my thought I would like to say to the evaluators, if you're going to introduce the objectives, please refer to them in your evaluation. And don't be afraid to do evaluations without notes. It makes you a better speaker, even if you mess up. So, I know the table topics master has been evaluated. I'm just going to share one thought. Did you notice that at the beginning, he gave a need step? This is why you need to come up here and speak off the cuff. His need step was there, and that was brilliant. Well done. I also happen to agree with Sonia. I knew it was Sonia. That your introduction was a fraction too long. Now, Sonia, you gave a beautiful evaluation. So clinical, so clear. Can I just give you one command? And that's just speak up. And there is one way to be able to practice your speaking up, and that is when you're in the shower. You can sing. No one else is around you. And what that means is if you actually, I'm not joking, if you practice singing, it makes your voice more powerful. This actually happened to me. I go to a weekly something or other and I have to sing. I don't like singing, but it helped me have a more powerful voice. That's a commend. But well done, fantastic. So, on to the more minor roles. I'd like to share a thought about Elliot. Did you notice in his timekeeping, he came up and he explained a very interesting story, a very interesting anecdote about time. And then he went on to explain the timers, or the timings, and in doing so, although he did it in one way, he failed to mention what actual minute it would turn green, which it just has for me. Which means that not everybody knows that at 5 minutes you will get a green card, or for 4 minutes for those who are doing the icebreaker. So that's something to consider. Bagwandas, well done. Bagwandas did a great job, but she missed one press of the camera, but you must have been thinking of your red monkey. But other than that, you were right on cue. You were pressing the button as the person was getting in. Fantastic. Now you're going to be up here next time. You're going to get up for an icebreaker. So well done. Good job, young lady. I like to see this and this.
Thanks to David.
I'll tell you why, because I sometimes have words of the week, or we have words of this session, that I never am going to use in everyday speech, unless I want to sound like a complete wally in a meeting, which is not the preferable way of doing things. Precursor is something that you would use in everyday speech. Well done. So those who are grammarian, pick a word that is going to enhance our daily vocabulary. Well done on that one, Angela. So, on to Sina, the last of the evaluations. Sina, fantastic creativity to come up here and take a subject and do it in a very different way. I don't care if the technology failed, but everybody thinks I'm going to mention the technology failed. Sod that. What? Sod as in mud sod. Not anything else, not what you're thinking. Well done, because it breaks the boundaries and it helps everybody else essentially develop and expand a more creative space to fill their ideas. I want to share one thought about it. I would have loved you to come up here and deliver it in tandem. Reason being, at the beginning there was still silence. Still silence. Everybody's focused. But when you have a 2D image instead of a 3D, that stunned silence can only last probably 1 or 2 minutes and then it starts to fade away. Simply because you don't have something called reciprocal. Yeah, never try and say a word that you can't actually say in front of an audience. There we go. That's a recommend for me. I'm not going to be evaluated. You don't have that beautiful relationship where you can respond, just as I did there, to audience participation and the audience fade. So I'd like to come up here and tell us, how do we create videos? Give a little bit of detail. Not everybody is computer literate. Consider that. I will end with this last thought because I'm on a red light. Angela, you mentioned today what you would like to say to God. And if I may be so as bold to quote from a very holy book that says in Hosea 4 verse 6, it says, love mercy, do justice, and walk humbly with your God. And in walking humbly with your God, you will feel the dash from the birth of your life to the end of your life by looking up to other people.